All right. Hello there, everyone. Good evening. My name is Nicole Arwa. I will be your tutor for this session. I am so happy to see all of you joining our virtual classroom once again. Welcome. I hope you all had a productive day at work or a restful afternoon before we started our session tonight. Now, before we jump into anything new, I want to do a quick heart check. How is everyone feeling? If you are feeling great and ready to learn, you can send a high five or a star emoji in the comments. So it is so wonderful to see all of your familiar names to pop up. Hopefully, on my screen here. Okay? Welcome back to our professional English journey. Now, as your tutor, my favorite thing to do is to help you find the right words to use in your daily professional life. I want to make sure you feel confident whether you are talking to a colleague, a boss, or even a doctor. Now, let's take a quick look reviewing, quick look looking back. Um, about the topics that we had already discussed. Now we just finished an incredible and very colorful journey. Right? We mastered the primary colors. We learned the secret recipes for secondary colors. And we practiced building full sentences like, um, the dress is red. So you all did a brilliant job during our scavenger hunt, and I was so proud of how fast you were. But now it is time to move forward. We are shifting from the world of colors to something very personal and uh, practical. As you can see in your screen, we have body parts, which will be our main focus for this session. It is specially designed for you. So you might wonder, why is this topic so important? Because in a professional world or in general, we need to know how to describe ourselves. Maybe you need to tell your manager why you are feeling unwell, or perhaps you are at the clinic and need to explain exactly where it hurts. So, knowing these body parts in English will give you the power to communicate your needs clearly and professionally. Okay? We have a lot to cover tonight, and I promise to keep it simple, to keep it specific and full of examples you can use tomorrow morning, even. Okay? Are you ready to begin our next chapter? Are you? Okay, let's start, of course. Let's focus our attention on the first major section of our body map. Now, on this slide, we are going to explore the head and face. Okay? Or the head, even. It is specifically as essential features for health communication. So we're going to go through every single term you see on the screen very carefully. Now, let's start with the head. Now, the head, first, I want everyone to look at the very top of our diagram here. This is the head. Okay? Again, this is the head. And you can see the spelling and the pronunciation guide right there. This is the spelling, this is the pronunciation. Okay? So, on our slide, it's defined as the top part of your body with brain inside. In a professional medical context, this is a word we use constantly to describe our general well being. If you look at the blue dialogue box here on the right, we have a very important sentence for your professional life. Let's read. I have a headache. I need medicine. Now, when we talk about the head at work, we aren't just talking about a body part. We are talking about our ability to think and focus. So, if you are in a long meeting and the lights are too bright, or if you have been working on a complex report for 5 hours without break, you might feel a headache. By saying, I have a headache, you are professionally communicating that you need a moment to rest or perhaps some medical assistance so you can return to your tasks later on. It is the most common way to explain why you might be feeling less productive than usual. Whenever you are talking to a supervisor to request a short break or speaking to a doctor at a clinic, starting with the word head allows the other person to understand that the issue is related to your neurological comfort and, of course, your overall ability to really process information. So it is more of like the control center of the body. So it is always the first place that we check, especially when we feel unwell. Okay, let's practice the pronunciation one more time. Nice and short. We just say it as head. Again, head. Okay, that's the first body part. Let's move on to the next one. We have the eyes. So, moving farther down the face, let's look at the label for the eyes. Okay, so you can see the pronunciation guide. You say it as eyes. Okay, eyes, right next to the icon. Now, the slide tells us a very simple but really vital truth that you use these to see and read. That's the very basic definition for the body part of eyes. Now, for working adults, the eyes are perhaps the most used tools in our daily professional lives. So we use them to navigate our office, to recognize our colleagues, and most importantly, to process the massive amount of digital information on our screens. Now, look at the example phrase provided. My eyes are tired from the computer. Again, my eyes are tired from the computer. Okay? This sentence is a must know for anyone working in a modern professional environment. Tired eyes or eye strain is a very common medical complaint for people who work with technology. Now, by identifying your eyes as the source of your discomfort, you can accurately describe a physical state that affects your work quality. So, if you are at a medical checkup, you might tell the doctor, my eyes feel dry or my eyes are blurry. Now, this level of detail is essential. In the workplace, telling a workmate or a teammate even that your eyes are tired is a polite way to justify why you might be looking away from your screen or why you are stepping outside for some natural light. It just shows that you are aware of your physical limits and you are taking care of your health so you can continue to work effectively. Remember, okay, I'm sorry. Remember that the eyes are sensitive. Okay, it is sensitive. So being able to point to them and use the correct English term, it really ensures you that you will be able to get the right advice or treatment for your vision. Okay, that's eyes. Let's move on to the third body part. We have here ears. Again, ears. That's the spelling. This is the pronunciation. Ears. Now, look at the side on the face of of our diagram here, where we see the ears. This one, and then this one also. The little circles. Okay. So according to our slide, you use this to hear sounds. hear sounds. Now, in many professional fields, especially in construction, in engineering or factory work, this body part is directly linked to safety. This is why we have some specific sentence on the slide here where it says, wear ear protection to protect your ears. Now, hearing is really one of our primary senses for communication. We know that. Now, at work, you use your ears to listen to instructions, to participate in group discussions, and to hear safety alarms. If you cannot hear well, it can lead to dangerous mistakes or misunderstandings in a project. In a medical context, if you visit a doctor because you have pain in this area, you would say, I have an earache. So, this is very similar to the headache we learned earlier. Now, by using that term ears, you are focusing the conversation on your auditory health. Okay. Furthermore, the instruction to protect your ears is a standard safety protocol in loud environments across different countries. So, if you are a supervisor, you might have to say this to your staff to ensure they are following health and safety regulations. If you are a worker, you need to understand this command to stay safe on the job. It's not just about hearing the music, it is about maintaining a vital sense that allows you to interact with your professional world safely and efficiently. Okay, that is the ears. Now let's look at the center of the diagram now. Right in the middle, we have the label for this one, for the nose. Although we don't have a separate description box for it in the right, clearly marked in our facial diagram because it is a key feature. Okay? It is a key feature for health communication. So we use our nose to breathe and to smell, which are basic but essential functions for living and working. Okay? This one, nose. Nose. So you use this to smell and breathe. Now, the nose here is often the first part of the body we discuss when we have a common cold or sensational allergies. You might need to tell a doctor, my nose is congested or I have a runny nose. These are very specific English terms that really help a medical professional decide if you have a simple cold or something more serious like a sinus infection. Now, professionally, if you are working in laboratory, in a kitchen even or a chemical plant, your nose is also a safety tool. You might use it to detect smoke or to detect a gas leak before even the alarm sounds. Now, being able to quickly say, I smell something with my nose can prevent an accident. And that is a fact. Okay? Even in normal office, if you aren't feeling well, you might explain that you have a blacked nose, which is why your voice sounds different during a presentation. It is a central part of our face and a central part of how we describe our respiratory health to others. Okay, so just below the nose, the diagram points to the mouth. Like the nose, it is a primary feature of the face that we use every single day. The mouth is our main tool for verbal communication. So every word I am saying to you right now is coming from or coming through my mouth. Okay, and if, of course, in your professional life, you use yours to speak with clients, to negotiate deals and to chat with colleagues during your lunch break. So that is mouth. Again, mouth. The spelling is this one, the pronunciation is this one. Oh, which is the mouth? This one, mouth. Now, just below the nose, the diagram points to the mouth. Like the nose, it is a primary feature of the face that we use every single day. So the mouth is our main tool for verbal communication. Now, every word I am saying to you right now is coming through my mouth. And in your professional life, you use yours to speak with clients, to negotiate deals, and chat with colleagues during your lunch break. Okay? Now, when we talk about the mouth in a medical context, we are often talking about our ability to eat and to speak. If you have a sore throat or a cough, a doctor will always ask you to open your mouth so that they can look inside. Being able to follow this instruction is a basic but really important part of a medical examination. So you can do that, no? Just cooperate with the attendant. So, furthermore, here in the workplace, the mouth is where we show our or your professionalism through our speech. If you are having trouble speaking because you are losing your voice, you might tell your boss, my mouth and throat feel dry, or is it difficult? It is difficult for me to speak today. So this really helps manage expectations for your participations in meetings. It is also the part of the body we use for nourishment. Without a healthy mouth, we cannot eat the food we need to keep our energy levels high for work. So it is a multifunctional part of the face that bridges the gap between our physical health and our social professional interactions. Okay, that is the mouth. Moving on, the last one, we have the teeth. Okay, if you look at the light pointing inside the mouth that we use for the mouth on the diagram, so you will see the label for by teeth for teeth. So the teeth are the white hard structures inside the mouth that we use for chewing. While we don't often discuss our teeth in a standard business meeting, they're a major topic in medical and dental contexts. Now, it is a significant part of the overall physical health. If you've ever had a toothache, you know that it is almost impossible to really concentrate on work when your teeth are like hurting, right? So, in many professional cultures, having a bright, healthy smile is also considered a part of your professional appearance. For you to, look welcoming, for you to look warm, for you to look really ready to do your service, attend the customers, or anything of that sort. So, if you need to take time off work to see a specialist, you would tell your manager like this. For example, for instance, you can use this one. You can just simply inform them that you have a dentist appointment for your teeth. As simple as that. Now, this is a very clear and accepted reason for a short absence. In a medical emergency, if you were to trip and fall at work, a first aider might ask you, are your teeth okay? Like something like that. Knowing this word, it allows you to really give a quick and accurate answer. So the teeth are essential for our nutrition, no? And our confidence when speaking also will be enhanced for that one. So by mastering this term, you complete your vocabulary for the entire head and face. So moving from the head and at the top down to the very structures inside your mouth. You are now fully equipped to describe any issue regarding your head and face. Okay, let's look at the picture once again. This one is the head. This one is the eyes. This one is the ears. This one is the nose. This one is the mouth. And then the white ones here at the center are the teeth. Okay? All right. How's everything so far? where everything so far totally fine. If you're overwhelmed, you can just give me an emoji, or you can type it down what you're feeling, and um let's try to see what we can do. Okay? Anyone? All right. Everything's good. Sige. Let's take a deep breath. That one. Okay? All right, everyone, let's keep that momentum going as we move into section 2 of our lesson. Okay? Since we're already done with the head and face, we move on to the upper body and torso. Okay. Now, this part of the body is absolutely critical for workplace health and ergonomics as it covers the areas where we often feel the most physical strain during a long day at the office or on a job site. So, we are going to dive deep into these five essential terms. Okay. Now, let's start with the chest. Again, how do we pronounce this one? Chest. This is the spelling, and this is how we pronounce it, chest. First, let's focus on the center of the upper body diagram. We have the chest, as I've mentioned. So the chest is the front upper body where your heart and lungs are. So in a professional setting, being able to describe sensations in your chest is perhaps the most vital communication skill you can possess. Okay? Your heart and lungs are the engines of your entire body. They provide the oxygen you needed, the circulation required for every professional task you perform. So, from typing an urgent email to leading a busy warehouse team, you do that. If you feel any sudden discomfort in this area while at work, you must be able to communicate it clearly and immediately. Okay? Look at the urgent example sentence on our slide. I have pain in my chest. I need a doctor. The chest is here at the center. It's the chest. So, this sentence I've mentioned earlier, this one, I have a tool for your personal, it's more like of a tool for your personal safety. Now, in English, we use the word pain to describe a strong physical hurt because the chest houses such life sustaining organs. Any pain mentioned here is taken with extreme seriousness in a medical environment. So, by stating, I need a doctor, you are professionally advocating for your health in a way that is universally understood. Beyond emergencies, you might use this term in a routine health, especially checkup, to talk about your cardiovascular fitness or your breathing. So it is foundational term that really bridges the gap between the basic anatomy and life-saving professional communication. So you practice the pronunciation with me one more time. Okay? Focusing on the CH sound or ch sound. This is chest. Again, chest. All right. Next, we have the shoulders. Again, shoulders. Now look at the diagram where the lines point to the shoulders. These are the defined parts of your body located between your neck and your arms. So where is the shoulder? This one. So for many working professionals, the shoulders are where we carry the majority of our daily physical stress. Whether you sit at a desk for 8 hours or carry heavy materials across a factory floor, your shoulders are also working constantly to really support your movements. So the slide provides us here with a very common workplace complaint that I'm sure many of you would recognize. My shoulders are stiff from working. So the word stiff here, it means they are hard to move or feel uncomfortably tight. So communicating this to a colleague or a manager is a key part of practicing workplace ergonomics. If you tell your supervisor your shoulders are stiff, it might lead to a productive conversation about getting a more supportive chair or adjusting the height of your monitor. In a medical context, a physical therapist will often ask about the range of motion in your soldiers, soldiers in your shoulders. Okay, so considering that being able to identify the specific area rather than just saying my arm, it helps medical professionals who are accommodating you to give you the correct or treatments. So your shoulders are the essential pivot points for your arms. So they allow you to reach, lift, and gesture. Um, Keep them healthy because that is absolutely necessary for maintaining your long-term productivity and comfort. Okay? All right. Next, now let's move on to the bottom label on our first torso list, which is the black pronounces bake. Ad, yeah, bug. So it will never be big. Okay, back. Our slide defines this as the rare part of your body from the neck to the hips. So the back is the main support structure for your entire body. And in some workplace or workforce, the back health is a major focus of occupational safety and insurance. So whether you are or you work in an office or manual labor job, protecting your back is a daily professional responsibility. So you can look at, for example, this one, lit carefully to protect your back. In a professional setting, especially in logistics, retail, or manufacturing, you will often see signs about safe lifting. This means using the strength in your legs and not your back to move heavy objects. This is why if you hurt your back, it can severely affect your ability to stand, to sit, and even sometimes sleeping. So this is why you can ask very detailed questions about the Rizalo. So because the back here is such a large area, no? Knowing this word is just the start of being able to describe your physical state accurately. In an office, back pain is often the result of your poor posture. Okay? Poor posture. Now, okay? Now, this is as a teacher, of course, um um because the back is really huge. Knowing the word in and of itself is just the start of being able to describe your physical state accurately. So in an office, back pain is really common. No, it is often the result of poor posture or desk that is the wrong height. So by using this term with an ergonomic specialist, you can find ways to really improve your writing. Okay? Your physical state accuracy. Now, in an office, back pain is often the result of poor people on a desk. So that is the wrong height. By using this term with an ergonomic specialist, you can always find to improve your desk setup and work without plan. So it is a word that represents your body's strength and making it connect cornerstone of medical and workplace English. Okay, that is the back. Next, we have the stomach. Again, the stomach. So we are going to look at the next part of our torso here, stomach. So you can pronounce it as is. Okay. So as our slide shows, this is the front middle part of your body where food is digested. Okay. All right. Now here in stomach in a professional setting, for instance, we often talk about the stomach when we discuss our lunch breaks or how we are feeling after a meal. So you can look at the example on the screen. And we have here on the screen, my stomach hurts. Maybe the food was bad. Okay, this is a very useful sentence if you need to explain to a colleague why you are feeling a bit slow or why you might need to step away from your desk. Okay, the stomach is closely tied to our energy levels at work. So if you haven't eaten something, your stomach might feel empty. Okay, okay, or was it like a yeah, this one. So stomach. Okay, stomach. That's the spelling, and this is the pronunciation. In the figure, where is the stomach? This one, right below this one. Okay. So, yeah, this will be a very useful sentence if you need to explain to a colleague why you're feeling a bit slow or why you might need to step away from your desk. So, the stomach makes it hard to concentrate on your PDS. Okay, so you might tell them if they try to use filter or this particular thing. You might tell them, I have a stomach ache, which is similar to the headache we learned earlier. Being able to distinguish between chest pain and stomach pain is vital for a doctor to give you the right medicine, whether you are discussing a catered office lunch or a medical concern. Okay? All right. That is our, let's say, that is our stomach. Next, we move on to the arms. Again, arms. So, yeah, the arms pronounced as arms. So these are defined as the body part from your shoulders all the way to your hands. Okay. Your arms here are the primary tools for interacting with the physical and is that a word? Physical world at work. So you can use them to type, to carry files, to operate machinery, and even just gesture during a presentation. So the slide gives us a very practical instruction. Raise your arms above your head. This might be something you hear in the morning exercise routine at the office or during physical examination. Okay, at a clinic, of course. Now let's see the sample sentence for the word arms. Raise your arms if raise your arms above your head. Okay, and of course everybody will try to do that. Now, in the workplace, we often talk about I am strength or I am a reach. It's a shelf that is too high. I may say, you might say my arms aren't long enough to teach that or to read that. So in a medical context, if you have an injury, you might use how'd you call that? Where were we? Ah yeah, arms. Okay, okay. I hopefully everyone is ready to continue. All right, we are on the arms. Now, everybody in this workplace, in the workplace, we often talk about strength or reach. Okay, we often talk about that. Now, if shelf is too high, you may also say my arms aren't long enough to reach that. Now, in medical context, if you have an injury, you might describe where it hurts along the arm, such as the elbow or the wrist, and etc. Okay, so with that, because we know and we use the flowers for that one. So you might describe where it hurts along the arm, such as the elbow or the wrist, because we use our arms for every almost task. Keeping them eye from journey is a top priority. Okay. Okay, that's good. So your arms are an extension of your torso strength, and knowing this word help you describe how you perform your physical work every day. Okay, that is the arms. And then the last one, finally, let's look at the connection between the head and the torso. Okay, the connection between the two. Okay. The throat, pronounced as throat, as I mentioned, our slide defines this as the passage from the mouth to the stomach, located inside your neck. So the throat is a critical part of our body for both breathing and communication. Look at the very common medical example on our slide. I have a sore throat. It hurts to swallow. For a working professional, a sore throat is often the first sign that you are getting sick. Okay? If you have a presentation to give but your throat is sore, you need to be able to tell your team for that one. You can say, I have a sore throat, so I might speak quietly today. This helps manage your expectations in a medical context. So the throat is what? The throat is where many infections is red or swollen. To stay hydrated and pronunciation, stay hydrated, yeah, to stay hydrated, because a doctor will often look for at your throat to see if it is red or swollen, because the throat is also used for swallowing. Any pain there can affect your ability to stay hydrated and energized during the workday. So mastering this pronunciation, especially the tricky sound at the beginning, it is a great way to improve your English. Okay, let's try it together. Throat. Again, throat. Okay, let's continue, everyone. Let's focus our attention on section three, arms and hands. For a moment, let me just drink my water. Oh, I really needed that because um my mouth is really dry. Anyway, this section, it covers our upper extremities vocabulary. Okay. Now, these particular parts, these are essential for describing physical work and even everyday tasks. So we use our arms and hands for almost everything we do at work. So knowing these specific joints and parts is very important for your safety and health communication. Okay? Arms and hands, the upper extremities. Let's start with the middle of the arm. Not really totally middle, just a bit of behind, but yeah, this one. Okay, this one. Now, in a workplace environment, the elbow is a very common place for accidental bumps or injuries, especially if you work with a tight office space or a busy warehouse. You can look at the example sentence on our slide. My wrist hurts from typing all day. When we talk about joints like the elbow, we are talking about our mobility, so our ability to move. In a medical context, a doctor might ask you to reflect and flex or extend your mobility, our ability to move on. or move. Okay. Now, in a medical context, everybody, in a medical context, a doctor, okay, a doctor might ask you to flex or extend your elbow to check for injuries. If you are doing repetitive lifting at work, you might feel the strain here. Being able to really name the that one as elbow. No, not really. Yeah, specifically, it helps a medical professional understand. Okay, understand. Okay, understand what? Understand anything. So again, we are at the elbow. Elbow, that one. The sentence or the explanation is join in the middle of your arm that bends. And then the sentence is I hit my elbow on the desk. It hurts. Now, when we talk about joints like the elbow, we are asking for what? We are of course this is your all the information you needed. Okay? When we talk about joints like the elbow, we are talking about our mobility, our ability to move basically. Because in a medical context, a doctor might ask you to flex or extend your elbow to check what? To check the the course or the subject. So I hit if my elbow on the desk and it hurts. Very simple but direct. Okay, good. Now, when we talk about joints like the elbow, we are talking about our family or mobility or any kind of extension. So you're able to check for injuries. If you are doing repetitive tasks, okay. Now, when we talk about joints like the elbow, we're talking about our mobility, our ability to move. In a medical context, a doctor might ask you to flex or extend your elbow to really check um to check for injuries. If you are doing repetitive lifting at work must you might file flex or extend, right? Okay. So we move on to the level A1. Anyway, when we talk about joints, the elbow, we are talking about our mobility or our ability to move are precious to him. Okay? All right. Next, we move on to the wrist. Again, wrist, wrist. Okay. Sige. Moving on the arm toward the end, we find wrist. So it pronounced first. The diet, because they spend it so many hours typing on keyboards and using a computer nose through the slide. Okay. Now in the slide, an example for this one is my phone hurts from typing all day. Okay. So this type of pain is often called by color, which is good. Okay. So yeah, the rest is a major area for workplace health concerns. So the type of pain is often called repetitive strain injury or RSI. So by knowing the word wrist, you can explain to your manager why you might need an ergonomic mouse or a wrist test for your keyboard. Now, in a medical setting, everybody describing the type of pain in your wrist, whether it is sharp, dull, or tingly, it is essential for a diagnosis. Okay. So we have here your wrist tasks. Okay. Okay. Where are we? Okay. So one thing that you will be able to notice in the word, this is the spelling, but if you say it, it is wrist. So basically, another thing to remember for this one is that your wrist allows your hand to move in many directions, giving you the dexterity or skill to perform the tasks. That is why, whether you're a surgeon, coder, mechanic, and everything else, your wrists are vital tools that require protection and rest. Okay, let's say it together, remembering that we line in, that particular company. Now, um, where are we? Yeah, this is the wrist. Okay, wrist. Now, moving down the arm toward the hand, we find the West pronounced first sides depends on the availability. But anyway, my wrist hurts from typing all day. That is the sample sentence word for word. Now, type of pain, okay, this type of pain, where are we? This type of pain is often called repetitive strain injury, as I've mentioned earlier. No? That is wrist. Finally, we reach the hand, pronounced as hand, very simple. According to our diagram, the hand is the part of the end at the end of your arm with fingers. Okay, the hand is our primary way of interacting with the world. So we use it to shake hands in a meeting, to sign important contracts, and to operate every tool we own. So in our slide, we have a very important health and safety instructions. Wash your hands before eating. Okay, this is a standard rule in every professional environment, especially in healthcare and food service or any office during. Okay, that one. Wash your hands before eating. Okay, this is a standard rule in a professional environment or even in general. No, especially in healthcare, food service, or any office during the season. So beyond hygiene, our hands here are also where we find our fingers and our thumbs, so which are also labeled in our diagram. Okay, that is uh, the wrist. Let's move on to hand. We reach the hand finally, pronounced as hand. According to our diagram, the hand is a part at the end of your arm with fingers. So the hand is our primary way of interacting with the world. So we use it to shake hands in a very important meeting or subject, health and safety instruction. You can wash your hands before eating, as simple as that. This is standard for the environment, especially in healthcare. Now, we include healthcare, food service, or any office during the season. Beyond hygiene, our hands are also where we find our fingers and our thumb, which are also labeled in our program. Okay. Now, in a medical context, basically, your hands can tell a doctor a lot about your health, such as your um, mouth, nose. It is hands on. Okay. All right. If you have an injury at work, being able to say exactly where it is on my brain, on my numb, on. Okay. Now here on my plan, on my thumb or on my fingers. So we make communication much faster. Your hands are complex system to make the small bones and to make crayons from it. Okay, so it's not that popular for this one. Not dili pa. Okay, not yet, not yet. So yes, in a medical context, your hands can tell a doctor a lot about your health, such as your circulation of your nerve function. If you have an injury at work, being able to say exactly where it is on my palm, on my thumb, or on my fingers, it makes muscle, working together. That's I don't know. I don't even know what to feel. But yeah, anyway, that's that. So it makes communication much faster. It is. It is. It is what? That is a standard rule. Okay. So that is hand. No letter or anything. Now, next is fingers. Let's look at the slide per part of the end, starting with fingers, pronounced fingers. Our slide defines these are as five parts of the end of your hand. Okay. Anyway, fingers here, everybody, are essential for precision work. Okay. If you work in an office, you use them constantly, as shown in our example report that I received. Now, they are also prone to small injuries or strains. In a professional medical situation, you might need to specify which finger hurts. So, it is the index finger or the pinky. Knowing this term allows you to be a doctor properly, even as simple as these tasks. So, you can use your fingers to type on the keyboard. Okay. Because here, the fingers are so active. They are also prone to small injuries or common strains. So in a professional medical situation, you might need to specify which hurts. Okay, it is the index finger of the pinky. Knowing this term allows you to be very close and precise when describing an injury and finger or the pinky. So knowing this term allows you to be a very precise person when describing an injury, small objects and mean up small objects, and perform the perform the fine motor tasks that most job require. Okay, let's try to say or pronounce this one. Fingers. This is the spelling. This is the pronunciation. Fingers. Again, these are five parts at the end of your hand, and this is used as ring fingers to type on the keyboard. Okay, that is fingers. Finally, we have the thumb. Okay, thumb, which is pronounced as that one, thumb. As the diagram below, the thumb is the shortest finger on the sides of your hand. This one, thumb. So your thumb is what gives the human hand its an incredible ability to grip and hold objects firmly. So without the thumb, it would be very difficult to hold a pen or a screwdriver. Okay? So yeah, however here, because it is on the side of the hand, it is often in the way of danger. But of course, we must ensure that. That's why I still assign you. Okay? In many technical jobs, the thumb is your thumb is very important when seen recording and going back here. Okay? Okay. Again, let's have the fingers. Oh. Okay. Five parts at the end of your hand. That's the definition here. An example is use your fingers to type on the keyboard. So you will just, cut your thumb with the scissors because it has been a long time already. In many technical jobs, Your fingers are doctor. They will check your thumb strength to see if you have any nerve issues. Okay? Practice M. Workplace. Okay. Later on. So this one, since we're talking about thumb, the short, thick finger on the side of your hand, you will get, I cut my thumb with the scissors. Okay? Okay. Okay. So here, the thumb, we have the thumb pronounced as thumb. As the diagram shows, the thumb is the shortest, or like the short trick finger on the side of your left hand. So this jump is what makes the human hand. It's an incredible ability to grip and hold objects firmly, especially without a thumb. It would be very difficult to hold a pen or use a screwdriver. However, based on the side of our hand, it's often in a way of danger. So you can look at the medical, professionals and do just like what I told you. Okay? So try to be able to distinguish really between your fingers and your thumb because this is very important for me. Okay? Okay. So here again, the thumb is a spelling. Pronunciation is thumb with no B. The short, thick finger on the side of your hand. That's the definition. And an example, I cut my thumb with the scissors. So in many technical jobs, the the thumb is the most commonly injured part of the hand. So being able to distinguish between your fingers and the thumb is very important when reporting a workplace accident. So in a medical practice or medical context, um, a doctor will check your thumb's strength to see if you have any nerve issues. Participate. Okay. All right. Now, those are the different arms and hands or upper extremities, elbow, wrist, hand, fingers, and thumb. Here, to finish this section, let's look at the workplace safety tips at the bottom of our slide. So these are the 3 professional rules to keep your arms and hands healthy. Okay. First is wear gloves to protect your hands and wrists. Second, take breaks from typing to rest your fingers, typing or writing. Third, keep your wrists well straight when working. Okay, so you do that. Tae. Okay, but you can just look at the material later on because this has been a hands-on material. You can do or navigate this one. That would be already good practice. Okay, now to where are we? Okay, to find this section, let's look at the workplace safety tips at the bottom of our slide. Again, these are all 3 professional rules to keep your arms and hands identity. Okay, following these tips will help you avoid the pain and injuries we discussed today. So again, we wear gloves to protect your hands and wrist. We keep we take breaks from typing to rest your fingers, and we keep your wrist from straight. Okay. So following these tips will help you avoid the pain and injuries we discussed today. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. We are going to continue for the next few items and another part of the main title for this one, which is the body parts. Okay. Thank you all for being with me tonight. I hope you've learned even in the short amount of time that you've been with me. And I will see you all tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody.